In a world where winter has taken over, two unlikely friends found themselves lost and separated from their families. A fawn and a wolf cub, brought together by fate, must navigate the treacherous snowstorm and find their way back home. But the journey won't be easy.
We've had our eyes on Blanc since we saw it in its first Nintendo Direct, so we were thrilled when we received a copy of the game for review. This black and white adventure caught our eyes immediately as we noticed the two adorable animals walking side by side. The game starts off with the small wolf cub lost and alone. As I started my journey, I soon came across Ryrie, and we hesitantly set off together.
The beginning of the game was actually very sweet. We saw our characters grow closer together throughout the journey. At first being wary of one another and keeping our distance, but it soon became apparent that without each other, neither of us would make it home.
The game is entirely textless, which leaves the story to be told through the soundtrack, visuals, and occasional cutscenes. We loved the textless nature of the game as it allowed for a far more fluid experience. While the visuals were simple black and white, they were something different we got to enjoy. The developers did a good job of crafting the atmosphere with music and sound effects. The music only came in to punctuate the more emotional moments, while the majority of the game was filled with sounds from our two animals and the winter world.
There is not a lot to this adventure. It's actually incredibly simple. The game is controlled with only 2 buttons and the joystick, making it incredibly easy to pick up. There are several different actions you're able to perform, and it is always made apparent when you step close enough to an object which of those actions you can do. The majority of the game consists of trying to find your way back to your family by following the path and the scent that they left in the snow. This mainly consists of picking your way through snow-covered forests and human villages, often climbing atop roofs or hopping from one wall to another.
While there is a lot of traversing from point A to point B, there are also a lot of little puzzles that you need to solve to create a path forward. This is where working together often came into play. The fawn was able to push heavy objects, while the wolf was able to pull them. Sometimes it would have us work together to pull open a heavy door, which was a cute little addition.
The fawn was also able to jump higher than the little wolf cub, and later in the game would actually have to help him up to higher areas by allowing him to hop on his back. And the wolf cub in turn was small and could sneak through cramped areas and cut ropes that would open an area for the fawn to cross through, often by tumbling a stack of logs. There were occasionally other cute ways that we worked together, but we'll let you discover those for yourselves.
The story is all about needing to work together to make it back to your family, while along the way starting to trust one another and eventually becoming close friends. It was told well enough that our 2-year-old son sat in our laps and watched with rapt attention, which is a rare feat. We did, however, feel like there were some small inconsistencies in the story, but it was never too big that it made us mad.
The first time we came across other living creatures was a small family of geese who needed our help to cross through a stormy area. This felt a little out of character and out of place for us, as at the time we were just trying to make it home to our families and the geese didn't help us progress at all. But the next time we interacted with other animals made more sense and proved more interesting as well.
2 small black and white goats can be found that will mirror your movements. You will have to use them to help you move objects and progress farther into the game. This was an interesting puzzle that was far more rewarding and endearing than rescuing those useless geese.
Blanc is incredibly lacking when it comes to replayability. The story is simple and holds little value when it comes to experiencing it twice, especially as it only took us about an hour and 45 minutes to complete the game. While we did have a good time with it, we don't really care to go back through it again. We had some issues with the camera angle. A couple of times it made it hard for us to see what we were supposed to be doing, but that was the only technical issue we had.
There were occasionally parts of the game where we were just walking for a while and doing nothing else. At these times, the lack of color was really noticeable since there wasn't much to look at. It was kind of like we were just pushing forward on the joystick, waiting until we got to do something more enjoyable.
This sense of slow progression also occasionally came through as the wind would blow and slow us down. When we were solving a puzzle, we didn't mind very much, but there was a section or two that would just have us walking against the wind slowly, and while we could tell it was supposed to be emotional, it was actually just a little annoying.
While heartwarming, the game was very simple. Not just the black and white art style, but the story and the controls as well. That's not necessarily a bad thing though. It made the game easy to play and relaxing instead of stressful. And unlike with some other co-op games, we did not get angry at each other or the game. Ultimately, the price of $15 does feel a little steep to us, and somewhere around $10 feels like a happier purchase price.
If you want to see what other couples games we recommend, check out this video. We talk about some of the games that we enjoy playing together the most, and you might just find that one game you've been looking for all along. We'll see you over there. We love you guys.
Y'all are awesome.